Big money is now pouring into XRP as companies begin to make XRP strategic reserves. Hyperliquid continues to outperform the rest of the market, and could we see a $500 Solana in the near future? This is your Altcoin Buzz News. Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Cody, and if you're new here, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know when we drop latest content. Follow us on Twitter, Altcoin Buzz IO, and as always, not financial advice, and wish you the best of luck in your crypto ventures. All right, good morning, guys. Happy Friday. We had that Bitcoin sell-off that I was expecting. We actually sold off pretty heavily yesterday. In part was due to the Hyperliquid Whale getting liquidated, which we'll get to in a minute. But we sold off this, we had this huge sell-off yesterday. Now we're starting to test the underside of this level of support around $106,000. So I could see a little bit more downside today if we just do an underside retest of this and continue down. I wouldn't be too surprised if we came down and took out these wicks like I was expecting a little while ago. So if we came down to around 100,000, I wouldn't be too surprised if we came down here, took out all these stops, went to the mid to high $99,000, and then we continued up. So overall, it's still a higher low on the the daily and the weekly time frame. So it wouldn't be too terrible if we came back down here, but you want to be positioned in case we do that, because I think it is possible you still have further downside. Maybe we come up a little bit higher, maybe we come up something like this, make another lower high, and then continue down. Something like that is possible. But I do still think there is more downside possible for Bitcoin. I don't think this was as big of a sell-off as we could get. It's only a couple percentages off the high right now. So overall, we pretty much thought this would play out, and it's played out pretty well so far. I do expect a little bit more downside, but yeah, that is Bitcoin today. Not taking any trades. It is the end of the month. Typically, towards the end of the month, options expire and the price tends to sell off. So we were positioned for this ahead of time. And then we have Cointelegraph saying ETF flows around 3,220 Bitcoin were sold and 34,290 ETH were bought on May 29th. So Bitcoin saw some outflows as it was reaching the top, the all-time high prices, and ETH started seeing a lot more inflows. So ETH has been strong over the past couple of days. And then we have Look on Chain saying James Wynn, which is the Hyperliquid Whale, just got liquidated for 949 Bitcoin or $99.3 million as the price of Bitcoin dipped below $105,000. He lost over $99 million in just 1 week. So if you guys haven't been following up with this has been a kind of a crazy story. Still not entirely sure if it's, what it seems on the front. Basically, this guy made a bunch of money in meme coins. He made like 8 figures between Pepe and a couple of different meme coins. And then he decided to turn that, money. He went 40x long on about $30 million of Bitcoin. So he was somewhere around $1.2 billion long. And over the course of the past week, he just continued to play the wrong side. He would go long, and then he'd get liquidated. He'd go short, he'd get liquidated. So he just basically blew through all of his profits, about $80 million in profits over the course of the last week. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this isn't, if it's what it seems. He could have very possibly had the same amount of money or more money on a, centralized exchange, and he was playing the opposite side. And so maybe he made money, but the way this guy has gone about this and became the main character of crypto Twitter over the last week, very odd, very strange. It seems like he cares more about the attention than he does, $99 million, which is very strange. But yeah, this guy basically just finally got liquidated. So over the past couple days, a lot of these wicks were him getting liquidated. So he would essentially be long here, we'd come down and take him out, and then he'd flip short, and then we come back up here, and then he'd flip long again, and then all these, pretty much the whole last week price action was just trying to take out this whale. And now that he's finally out of the markets, I think it's a lot more possible that we continue up because people have been trying to hunt this whale for a very long time. Then we have LA charts saying whales about over 20,000 Bitcoin in the last 48 hours, obviously as prices coming down. And then we have Coinbase saying Farage vows to make the UK a crypto powerhouse. In a Trump-style pitch in Las Vegas, the Reform UK leader bets on crypto to woo young voters. So he vows to cut the crypto gains tax to 10%, launch a 2-year sandbox, and outlaw discrimination against crypto payments. So kind of like how we had in the last administration, the UK is kind of going through it right now where crypto is very, crypto is being outlawed basically. They say they like crypto, but they, all the rules are against crypto. So now it seems like someone is trying to take the opposite stance again, and it seems to be working, at least with the young voters. Then moving on, we have Whale Insider saying, Weebus International Limited to buy up to $300 million worth of XRP to establish a strategic reserve, develop infrastructure, and accelerate global expansion initiatives. So now we have XRP strategic reserves being developed. At the same time, we also have Hyperscale Data plans to buy up to $10 million in XRP by the end of 2025 to expand crypto-based financial services via its Alt Capital Group subsidiary. And we also have Vivo Power announces a $121 million private placement led by Saudi Arabia to initiate an XRP Treasury strategy, appoints former Ripple board members as chairman. So a lot of money is now flowing into XRP. We also have Ali Chart saying a golden cross between XRP and VRV ratio in its 200-day SMA could mark the start of the next major leg up. So XRP has been getting a lot of attention. A lot of big funds, a lot of big people are starting to buy a lot of XRP. Also, at the same time, XRP is pretty much still in the middle of this range. Not much to do. We want it to come down here towards $2, which might coincide with Bitcoin going towards the low end of $100,000. So we want to wait for a level reclaim here. Pretty much just slowly bleeding out until it gets to this next major level of support. So nothing to do right now for XRP until it comes down to around $2. And then we have Standard Chartered initiates Solana coverage, forecasting SOL to reach $275 by the end of 2025 and around $500 by 2029. It says Solana trades cheap on market cap to GDP, unlike BNB, which trades rich due to its link to Binance. So it's essentially saying because BNB, has Binance, which will pump the price of BNB, Solana trades cheaper because, it doesn't have that backing to just pump the price. So they're saying Solana to 275 by the end of 2025 and 500 by 2029, which it seems more reasonable. It's not like the other crazy predictions, seeing, $1,000 by the end of the year. 275, we've already been to 275 before, so I don't think it's that crazy. I think we probably go towards $300 and a little bit higher by the end of this year. But 275 by the end of the year is definitely possible. We also have Jack the Rippler saying, starting June 13th, Coinbase will enable 24-hour trading for XRP and Solana futures. So we're starting to see a lot more futures trading on Coinbase as well. And also, Kraken Exchange had announced that they're announcing a partnership with BactFi for the launch of X stocks on Solana. We're seeing a lot of tokenized RWAs coming onto Solana as well. And for that reason, I think Solana could also, continue higher. Now, this actually played out beautifully, pretty much what we expected so far. We had another drop down here. I wouldn't be too surprised if we took out this wick. We haven't fully taken it out yet, so if Bitcoin goes a little bit lower, I could expect us to take out this wick somewhere around 159, and that's where I kind of was planning for this to come down. But we have sold off a bit here on Solana so far. If we come down a bit further, a little bit more liquidations today or this weekend maybe, I wouldn't be too surprised if we then blast through this level of resistance around 180 and then continue higher in the coming weeks. Solana overall does look pretty good, but it was pretty overbought for a while after this huge run up from around 145 to around 180. So it's cooling off a little bit. I wouldn't be too surprised if we consolidate here for another week or so, somewhere around the low 160s to high 150s. And then we continue higher from there. So overall, Solana is looking fine. I want to see it consolidate. I also more so want to see what happens with Bitcoin. So nothing to do just yet. I want to see if Bitcoin continues higher or just sells off from here even further into the weekend. And then moving on to Hyperliquid, we have Hyperliquid reached a new all-time high again. The open interest was 10.1 billion. The 24-hour fees were 5.6 million, and the USDC TVL was $3.5 billion. Welcome to all the new members of the ecosystem. So there's a couple of theories going around that the Hyperliquid Whale, James Nguyen, wasn't actually, trading his own money, and it was just kind of a Hyperliquid marketing stunt. In correlation to all this attention that Hyperliquid has been getting, the price of Hyperliquid hit basically a new all-time high. So Hyperliquid has been getting a lot of attention, and what is around, 80 to $90 million in marketing fees for the amount of, attention that Hyperliquid has gotten over the past couple of weeks. So there's a couple of theories flying around about what actually was the true intention behind the whole James Nguyen Hyperliquid Whale series. We have Hyperliquid hits new all-time high. Hyperliquid X has become a key hub for crypto community when it comes to trading derivatives. Its Web3 infrastructure allows users to see on-chain activity directly tied to trading on the platform. This transparency, such as the ability to view the position of major players and other traders, increases trust and engagement, making it the trading experience more dynamic and fair. Recently, Hyperliquid hit an all-time high in both open interest at 8.92 billion and 24-hour trading volume at 18.91 billion. It now ranks 5th in the industry by these metrics behind Binance, BitGet, Bybit, and OKX. This surge in activity combined with the team's ongoing buyback strategy for the HYPE token is driving strong upward momentum in its token price. So again, I think, part of this whole James Nguyen thing is, this one whale was, hunted basically because you could see his position on chain. So for me, it's a bit strange because while Hyperliquid is very cool, for me, it's like Hyperliquid, if you're a big player, why would you want to go on chain like that? And why would you want your position to be seen? Because this whale just basically got hunted over the course of the past week. So it makes more sense if big players wouldn't go into Hyperliquid. So it's kind of a weird, ongoing thing right now where, yes, this is bringing a lot of attention to Hyperliquid. It's really cool. You can trade on chain instead of perp DEX. But at the same time, if you're a big player, like, you don't want what happened to James Nguyen to happen to you again, so it's very strange dynamic going on right now with Hyperliquid. We also have Coinbase International Exchange saying we'll add support for Hyperliquid perpetual futures on Coinbase International Exchange and Coinbase Advanced. The opening of our Hype Perp market will begin on or after 9:30 a.m. UTC on June 5th, 2025. And at the same time, Hyperliquid made $66 million in fees in the last 30 days. Absolutely insane. So the amount of fees they're making off of these different traders is crazy as well. So Hyperliquid is one of the stronger coins today. I will say it was pretty overbought though. On the daily chart, you see we went up to around just about $40, pretty much a new all-time high for Hyperliquid as all this was going on. But we had a big sell-off in correlation with Bitcoin as well. But Hyperliquid was just kind of overextended at the same time. Now, could we continue higher from here? It looks decent on the daily chart, but we kind of need to go down to a lower time frame to see if we're going to continue higher from here, if this is just, the dip, the higher low before we continue higher, or if this is actually going to continue to sell off. So if we go to the 4-hour chart, not looking the best right now with this candle, but there's still, plenty of time. There's still about 30 minutes in this 4-hour candle. But what we want to see to continue higher is we really want to see it, start to close above this at the very least, but you can see this candle isn't. So ideally, if we want Hyperliquid to go higher and we think it's going to go higher, we want it to close above this level around 34.50. So we want to see it close above here. And then it's probably better, chances that we're going to continue higher and this is actually going higher. So you need to go down to the lower time frames. But the way we're looking right now, it looks like an underside retest more likely, where we've come up here, we've come up into this level of resistance, and we're going to continue back down even lower, probably towards the high 20s, somewhere around 27-ish. I could totally see if Bitcoin, if Bitcoin continues lower today as well. So I could definitely see around 27 to around $30 as the next target for Hyperliquid. So if you want to set any alerts here, I probably will do the same because Hyperliquid has been strong. Set an alert somewhere around here and look for another trade because I think this could be a decent area to pick up a long if we wick down in here, which would happen if Bitcoin sells off harshly. Because I think a lot of people will be looking to buy Hyperliquid if it comes down to this level of support. So what might happen is you just get a quick wick and then it continues higher. So you want to set alerts and you want to be ready if Hyperliquid does come down because it has been one of the strongest. It's one of the strongest up on the day, about 5%, while everything is negative or just neutral in the market. So Hype has been one of the strongest coins. I think it will continue to be one of the strongest coins in the future. Then we also have Ondo and its TVL hitting a new all-time high of $1.27 billion. A dollar is too low. We also have Not Telling saying, okay, we got confirmation that Ondo Global Markets is launching on Solana. We also know that Robinhood app submitted an RWA tokenization regulatory proposal to the SEC and wants to also launch on Solana. We also know that Robinhood listed Ondo on their European platform. We also know the Founders Fund invested in both Robinhood and Ondo. Are you connecting the dots yet? Robinhood app will launch an entire RWA platform powered by Ondo and Solana. Now, Ondo is actually one of the weaker coins right now, unfortunately. We're losing this level of support, so this isn't what you want to do. We were saying it probably would lose this level because it's tested this level multiple times. So the amount of taps it has on this level, it hasn't really respected this as much as we wanted. So it started to lose this level. What I can expect over the course of the weekend maybe is if Bitcoin starts to roll over even more, we'll probably do an underside retest of this and continue down towards this level around 70-ish cents again, which will be the bottom of the range. So I can see us picking up on somewhere around 75 cents again in the near future. Maybe it will be a bit of a higher low. So something like this, maybe we'll come down to around 76-ish cents, something like that, and then continue higher. But overall, Ondo's looking just meh, nothing to do right now. You could short it if you want to wait for an underside retest. Today, if Bitcoin's going lower, you could short it down to this level. That's another possibility. But in a kind of upwards trending bull market like we kind of are right now, it's a little bit easier to wait for the long. So you could just wait for it to come down here, wait for it to consolidate, and then continue higher from there. So that is Ondo. Not too much to do right now. Not too much to do with a lot of these things right now. Kind of just need to wait and see what happens over the course of the day and the next over the weekend. And then lastly for today, we have Aioz Networks joins Neo as a DePIN partner. So Aioz is joining as a DePIN or decentralized physical infrastructure network solution provider. It will enable Neo N3 and Neo X projects to access key services, including decentralized storage, AI compute, and streaming. The collaboration is designed to ease the development process for builders in the Neo ecosystem. It will reduce costs and boost performance, and this move places Neo in a strong position to support the next generation of Web3 applications. Aioz brings a full suite of services tailored to developers. Aioz AI enables collaborative training and sharing of AI models and datasets using a decentralized compute network. This opens the door for startups to build AI-powered apps without needing expensive centralized servers, and Aioz Streaming offers tools for hosting and delivering video and audio content, including live streaming. This is especially relevant today as more creators look to Web3 platforms for content monetization. For example, a recent surge in decentralized streaming apps has shown that there's strong demand for platforms that avoid fees and rules of traditional tech giants. The partnership with Aioz comes at a time when DePIN is gaining traction as a reliable alternative to centralized cloud providers, and according to Messari, DePIN project saw a 60% increase in developer activity over the last year, signaling growing trust in decentralized infrastructure. By joining forces, Neo and Aioz aim to lower the barrier of entry for developers to fuel innovation in the Web3 space. So that is Aioz Network and Neo. And that's the video for today, guys. I think we're pretty much just going to wait to see what happens over the weekend. I think, continued sell-off is possible. We could continue up here to around 107.5 today, but I think it would still be an underside retest, and we continue a little bit lower today. So that's just my thoughts on Bitcoin right now. It's not looking the strongest. We probably need to consolidate for a couple days over the weekend, and then maybe next week we'll have a big pump for Bitcoin and the rest of the market. It wouldn't be too bad if we came down here, took out these wicks. Still a lower high on the daily time frame, or still a higher low on that daily time frame. So it is totally fine for the market structure. Anything above this blue box around 98.5, I think is a strong buy. If we get any wicks down here, I'm totally looking to buy and long Bitcoin and a bunch of altcoins when it comes to this area. So that's what I'm looking for on Bitcoin. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys on Monday.